Our next speaker is Dave Buzzelli, Dow Chemical. Dave is the Vice President and Corporate Director for Environment, Health, and Safety for Dow Chemical. Dave has a wide range of experience. Some of us have had many jobs within an organization, sometimes because we can't hold down the job. But I think if you listen to what Dave has done, you'll see it's a progression to the top here. He's had several process engineering positions. He's been a technical director for process development, held various positions in agricultural chemicals. In 1984, he became the director of governmental and public affairs. In 1985, became a member of Dow's management committee. In 86, the chairman and the president and CEO of the Dow Chemical Canada. And while in Canada, he served as the chairman for the Canadian Chemical Producers Association and also the National Roundtable on Environment and the Economy. Dave has educationally has a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Minnesota and a master's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Delaware. We're very fortunate to have Dave with us. Please welcome Dave Buzzelli.
It's a real pleasure to be here with you this morning and to join Hank and Jim and to talk to you about global pollution prevention. I want to talk to you today about our need to move towards an environmental truce. I'm not suggesting that we're in the midst of an environmental war with each other, but I am suggesting that we are in an environmental war with the environment. And I think we need to face that. Government, the environmental community, and industry can do a lot better job of working together than they have been. And if we're really going to effectively address the environmental concerns that all of us face, we're going to have to find ways to really work together and to work on pollution prevention. I think the theme and the action plan for pollution prevention really provides that kind of an opportunity for us to really form an environmental truce and to work together. Let me tell you a little bit about how I think we can do this. It's going to require a new spirit of cooperation between all three sectors. We've seen some dramatic changes, I think, in attitudes in the both for-profit, not-for-profit environmental community, industry, and government. But that change is really just beginning to start, and it has to go beyond where it is, and it has to reach the global community. Let me start with industry first and talk about what we need to do, what we can do, and what we should bring to the table. For starters, each of us in industry needs to have a commitment to continuously improve our environmental performance. We need to have a commitment to subscribe to a hierarchical approach to waste management, starting with source reduction, working through reuse, recycling, treatment, incineration, and landfilling as an absolute last resort. We need to have a commitment within each of our companies to set goals to reduce waste and a commitment to reduce emissions, and to do it voluntarily. Many of us in this room have already done that, but we need to start, and we need to get it going throughout all of industry. Hank mentioned our RAP program. The first time I mentioned that to my 15-year-old, she said, "Oh yeah, I know about RAP, that's about vanilla ice." And I said, "No, it isn't. It's WRAP, waste reduction always pays." We've had a waste reduction ethic in our company for as long as I've worked at Dow, which is 25 years. But in 1986, we decided to formalize it, and to formalize it under the acronym RAP. And we started to put our goals together. We started first in the United States, and to set goals on how to eliminate waste. Not necessarily how to eliminate emissions after treatment, but how do you eliminate emissions before treatment? Because I think that's really the key for us. And we had to instill a waste reduction philosophy in the mentality of our employees. That was our first choice, our first opportunity. Our program is now in its 6th year, and I can honestly say that it's turned out to be a terrific program. We believe that waste reduction does always pay, and the payoff takes many forms. Materials that previously had been lost are recovered, converted into usable product. Yields are increased in our processes. There's savings in transportation costs. There's savings in disposal costs. It's helped us make a significant reduction in our emissions. And maybe most importantly is the sense of pride that our employee and our employee quality management teams are getting out of having the feeling of a job well done. Since 1974, which for us has been a period of steady production increases in the chemical industry in Dow, Our U.S. air emissions, for example, have decreased by more than 85%, and our losses to water in the United States have been decreased by 95%. By and large, all of this has happened through our RAP program. Importantly also, our air emissions from 1984 to 1988 it decreased by another 50%, and we've made a commitment to decrease those air emissions again by 50% from the base year of 1988 to 1995. This doesn't happen by people just wishing it would happen. It happens by a commitment within your company and within my company from the top of the organization to say this is an important goal, to say it's a target, and then to let our employees and our employee groups develop the plans that they need to put in place to really have these things happen. Let me give you a couple of examples of some of our RAP programs because I think they can apply to your company as well as mine. Our Louisiana operation installed a barge vent recovery system that captured hydrocarbon vapors that had previously been lost to the atmosphere when we transferred from our product tanks into barges. That recovery system has enabled us to recover and reuse about 100,000 pounds a year of hydrocarbons. At one of our plants in Pittsburgh, California, our people made several improvements in separation and automatic control of the process, and we increased the recovery of a solvent that we had been using in that process. That allows us to recover and reuse 210,000 pounds of a solvent, which previously we had to dispose of, and at the same time it reduced our air emissions by 15,000 pounds a year. In those examples, waste reduction does always pay. We also tried to take a look at our customer service people, our R&D people, our research and development people that deal with our products, and we've honored them as well, and they've taken up the challenge of RAP. For example, in one of our groups that deals with chlorinated solvents, the customer service people, over a period of 2 years, visited 450 customers, worked with those customers to reduce their emissions, and on a case-by-case basis had reductions anywhere from a minimum of 10% of emission reduction of our customer to as high as 60%. And I think that's really putting the RAP commitment where it belongs. It's not just with our own manufacturing processes, but also has to carry through to our products and our customers as well. This is a global program. This isn't a program that's just in the United States. And let me give you a couple of global examples. Our latex plant in Guadalajara, Brazil, has cut its emissions nearly 50% since 1987. In Stade, West Germany, in fact, I'm going to visit this facility next week, we've developed some new technology called cheminolysis, which converts biological sludge to a non-hazardous material. And it really has made a significant reduction, in fact, a 90% reduction in the amount of solids that we have to landfill from that site. In Varennes, Quebec, about 4 years ago, the Canadian government started a program to focus on industry on the St. Lawrence Seaway. And about 4 years ago, we decided to see if we could take one of our sites, it's a small location, and have no process discharge, water discharge to that river, to the St. Lawrence River. We accomplished that in the summer of 1989, where we stopped and we were able to have a plugging of the pipe celebration in Varennes, Quebec. In that case, there's only about 100 and so employees at Varennes, Quebec. Water became our enemy. In order to stop using water in our processes and to stop the discharge, we really had to focus on water. I know that many of your companies could stand up here and talk about the same kind of success stories. But if you don't have a formal program in your company, I encourage you to start one. And please start it at the top. Get a hold of your president or your CEO and say, we need your help in kicking this program off, because without your visible commitment to all of the employees in this organization, we really aren't going to make the kind of progress that we're talking about. A good example of a program where an industry has gotten together is a program that Hank mentioned, and that's the Responsible Care Program, which has been developed by the Canadian Chemical Producers Association and adopted by the Chemical Manufacturers Association in the United States. It's designed to promote continuous improvement of environmental performance of an entire industry. It's the first time we've ever tried to do this in the world. I think it's the most forward-looking, bold program I've seen by any industry trade association. We're pleased to be part of it. The whole purpose of the program is to develop codes of practice, and we have made adherence to those codes of practice be a condition of the membership. And we're still in the process of developing the 6 codes of practice, but it's an important opportunity for the chemical industry to improve all of its performance, not only with emissions and waste reduction, but also with safety, distribution of our chemicals, transportation of our chemicals, and our customers. How do we bring them into the loop? It's a huge job. We're going to, however, I think, really change the way industry operates around the United States. Let me turn to government just for a minute. Leadership for government is also needed if we're really going to make the kind of progress. Leadership from government has to be focused on how to motivate industry to join the pollution prevention ballgame. Historically, I think governments have not been very good at motivating people to do things. They've been good at telling people what to do. But we've got to change that. Hank talked about, quote, total quality management. Total quality management tells us that we motivate people to do things. It's going to be a tough challenge, but trying to build incentives into the system so that companies want to exceed regulations is really what the key is in terms of a successful or a non-successful pollution prevention program. And businesses need to set up an internal self-examination of their businesses and their business and product strategies, which ultimately forces you to take a hard look at your products. How do they impact the environment? What kind of downstream effects do they have? Life cycle analysis, as far as I'm concerned, is a key to that. We need to really take a hard look at all of the kinds of products we use, all of us as individuals and industry that manufactures them, and try to look at the total environmental impact of the manufacture of that product. In our company, we've set up a small blue ribbon team to develop a life cycle analysis philosophy, strategy, and methodology for our company. But my point here is that each of you in the room that are from industry, I hope you'll take pollution prevention seriously. I hope you'll set up a program of your own. Give it your own name. Give it your own recognition. Set aggressive goals for yourself. Make sure that all of your employees are communicated to so they know what your goals are and what you stand for in those companies. I'm pleased to see that the government of the United States has chosen to start to work on voluntary emission reductions through the new 3350 program. I personally think that it's a window of opportunity for us. I think it's a window of opportunity for those of us in industry, for those in government, and for those in the environmental community. It's a unique opportunity that if we can open the doorway wide enough, I think we can really change everybody's attitude towards environmental regulations and towards the environment. I sure hope that you won't let all of us down when somebody knocks on your door and said, would you please be part of this voluntary emission reduction program? It's extremely important to our success. Thanks very much.